The Biden administration has just announced that they've awarded $366 million to fund 17 different clean energy programs that are in rural and remote locations, primarily in the West. California utilities have just been forced to pay large settlements for their role in the 2017-2018 wildfires that took place in that state. And Massachusetts is bucking nationwide trends by actually expanding access to net metering programs and expanding the compensation to utility customers in that state. I'm Jay Warmke with SolarPVTraining.com, and this is the news from the solar industry for the week of March 3rd, brought to you by the American Solar Energy Society. Well, the White House announced this week that they've awarded $366 million to fund 17 different programs that are going to bring electricity to some rural and remote locations. Now, these funds are coming from the Bipartisan Infrastructure Act that was passed in 2021. Residents of these locations typically don't have access at all to electricity, or if they do, the electricity is very highly priced and very unreliable. Now, 12 of these 17 projects are going to be on tribal lands out in the western United States, and these systems, for the most part, will not be connected to the grid. These will be solar and storage systems that form a microgrid because the grid is just simply not available in these locations. California Edison has just had to pay an $80 million fine for the role that their equipment played in starting the wildfires, several wildfires in California in 2017, 2018. Now, investigations found that at least 2 of these fires were caused by their equipment, and that about 439 square miles burned. Now, this was the 7th largest wildfire in California history. This comes on the heels of a settlement by Pacific Gas and Electric, where they had to pay $117 million for their role in California wildfires during that same time period. Now, officials estimate that during those 2 years, wildfires in California actually resulted in about $4.5 billion in property losses within the state. Trina Solar has announced that they're opening up a manufacturing facility in Wilmer, Texas. This is going to produce about 5 gigawatts each year of solar panels. They're anticipating they're going to invest about $200 million in this project, and that when it's completed, it's going to employ about 1,500 people. Now, Trina Solar is headquartered in China, but it's the 2nd largest manufacturer of solar panels worldwide. A lot of investment has been taking place in the solar industry and manufacturing capacity here in the U.S. as the result of the Inflation Reduction Act that was passed in 2022. In fact, in the first year since that act was enacted, the Solar Energy Industries Association estimates that about $100 billion in private investment in manufacturing capacity has taken place because as a result of that Inflation Reduction Act, installers can get an extra 10% tax credit if they use domestically produced products within their installations. Now, speaking of financial impact, First Solar, which is the largest U.S.-based solar panel manufacturing company, headquartered in Toledo, Ohio, has released a report on the financial impact their company is having on the U.S. economy. Now, according to this report, they actually directly or indirectly employ about 16,245 employees with a cumulative salary of about $1.6 billion. And they've had in 2023, had sales over about $3.3 billion. Now, their current plans are quite aggressive. They plan to double their employment base and double their revenues by expanding their facilities in Ohio, Alabama, and Louisiana over the next 2 years. First Solar has been very, very profitable. In fact, in the last year, they saw their net profits increase about 30%. And according to officials, their inventory is sold out. Everything that they're producing is sold out through the end of 2026. So any orders being placed today have to be delivered in 2027 or beyond. And Massachusetts is bucking nationwide trends by expanding access to their net metering within that state. They're actually opening it up to government, municipal, and nonprofit organizations so they can participate when they sell back excess power from their solar systems back to the utilities. And in fact, they can work with multiple utilities within that jurisdiction for net metering. Now, recent changes to these laws, the Public Utilities Commission estimates going to save about $10 million for ratepayers within the state. They're also looking at this because Massachusetts being a small state, they're worried about the amount of land that utility scale solar requires. In fact, for every megawatt of utility scale, it takes about 5.3 acres of land to service that. And given the current electrical demands of a state like Massachusetts, they had estimated that it would take about 7.5 million acres of land within the state just to meet current electrical demand if it was 100% solar. So they're looking at encouraging solar on rooftops because that adds to the energy base without actually consuming additional real estate in the production of that electricity. And that's the news from the solar industry for this week. We'll see you next week.